No, man, but you got to keep going. What am I going to do, quit? That's not an option. You got to keep on keeping on. Life's a garden, dig it? You make it work for you. You never give up, man. That's my philosophy.
Hey gardeners, hope you're all having a great week. Now, one of the things that I get the most compliments on here in our alleyway gardens are these tulips that come up each and every year, and they're just beautiful, bright red, looking like flames or fire or something coming out of the garden, but they're just beautiful. People really, really love them. And I look forward to them every single year. Now, let's get growing. All right, all right. Welcome, welcome, all my garden enthusiasts and passionate plant people to Let's Get Growing, your weekly gardening live stream right here on the Urban Gardener channel. And we've got a really, really great show ahead for you here today. A little bit later in the show, we will be talking with Ashlie Thomas, the Mocha gardener. She returns to the show. She was on this last year and coming back again to talk all about this year's garden with us. And also in just a few minutes too, we're going to be talking with Nathan and Robert Snyder from Steam Puzzle, formerly of Growing with Nathan, as they are also return guests too from our show this last season as well too. So we've got a great show where we get to catch up with some old friends right here on the Let's Get Growing show. So definitely stay tuned for those conversations as well. As also too, I want to let you all know that tomorrow on our Sunday edition, we are Saturdays and Sundays around here at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Time for all of you on the East Coast, and adjusted for any other time zone around the world too, because I know we got a lot of viewers from everywhere else as well. So Let's Get Growing is on Sundays now with a Sunday edition. And this Sunday, which is the third Sunday of the month, we are doing our book club. We have a monthly gardening book club. And this week, our first gardening book club and author joining with us is Ellen Zakos. She wrote this really great book called How to Forage for Wild Foods Without Dying. An absolute beginner's guide to identifying 40 edible wild plants. And this book was a really awesome book. I've been reading it and checking it out all this last month. And we're going to invite Ellen onto the show, Sunday edition, for our monthly book club meeting. And one of the cool things about the monthly book club is it's also co-hosted. It's co-hosted. I'm not the only host of the monthly book club. Our good friend, my good friend from up here in Portland, Oregon, gardener and garden educator, Mark Boucher Colbert, is going to be joining with me each and every month on the third Sunday and to co-host our monthly book club. This is something that both of us are really passionate about, is, not just gardening, but also books. We're real big fans of reading and books and all of that. So when it comes down to it, it was a perfect match for us to do something like this. And since we're kind of excited about this first book, How to Forage for Wild Foods Without Dying, with Ellen Zakos, tomorrow. So definitely come and join with us tomorrow for that, and we'll have a really great Sunday show as well too. So yeah, so that's what we've got today, and that's what we've got coming up. And if you are here joining with us today, definitely hit that thumbs up button right there. Click the like button. It's really one of those things that truly helps our channel a lot. And not just the like button too, but comments. I know a lot of people watch and are part of the chat and everything like that, but if you get a chance, and this is something I'm kind of making a call out for now, is let's get down into our comment section and let's get as many comments, even if you're just saying, hey, great show, or just stopping by to say hi. Let me know too, what's going on, all this sort of stuff that maybe you didn't get a chance to say in our chat box if you're joining with us live, and all of that too. And also, definitely subscribe and also share. Sharing also helps out with our channel so much by letting other people know that we've got this really great fun gardening show each and every Saturday and Sunday here on the Urban Gardener channel in the Let's Get Growing show. And then again, too, huge shout out to all of you who are watching on our replay, because this is a live show. I know a lot of people don't have the opportunity to be able to join with us live. So we do get a lot of awesome replay viewers watching our replay. And the same goes to replay watchers. Definitely let me know down in the comment section. Put those comments in there. They really help with us to get seen more. It helps with us get suggested more to other viewers out there, so that people can see that we've got this really great show. And so the more interaction we have, clicking the like button, comments, those sort of interactions with our channel really helps us get seen by others out there too. So definitely do that. I really appreciate it. And yes, definitely great to see all of you. And if you do have any questions, comments, or anything like that while you are here live with us for our guests that we have coming up, definitely put those in the comments as well too. And that way we can see your questions and get them asked to our guests, because we want this to be not just a great conversation with me here and our guests, but to include all of you as well too. That's what makes these live streams so fun, is that we all get to kind of hang out together and get to participate in this fun conversation about something that I know we're all truly really passionate about, and that's growing and gardening and all of that as well too. So definitely do that. All right, let's see who we got here today joining with us. Right, first in the show, Janet Cruising Homestead. Hi, so awesome to have you here. Rob's Allotment Gardening as well. Good to see you, Rob, joining us from the UK. And of course, joining us from Huron County, Midwestern Ontario, Canada. We've got YouTube's greatest moderator, Jade Dixon, joined with us here, moderating our show and moderating a lot of other great live streams out there too. Just a great help in the gardening community, and especially for those of us who are out here, doing live streams and interviews and all of that sort of stuff. It's just so awesome to have Jay in our comment section, putting links in there. So if we're talking about something, keep an eye out in the comments there for a link. Check out those links and all of that as well too. And let's see here. We've got Sam joining with us again. Great to see you, Sam. Awesome. We've got Catherine in the house. Hello, Catherine. Sam, let's get growing. That's right. And Alessandro joining with us. Awesome. Let's see here. Oh, and of course we've got in the chat as well right now. Nathan says hi. Right on. There we are. Excellent. And let's see here. We got a question here. Any fruit trees? Yes, actually, it's a great question right off the bat here. Because I was out just kind of admiring and checking out all of my fruit trees I do have around here. The difference with what I have for fruit trees, and probably what a lot of people would think, is I grow my fruit trees in containers. So we do a lot of small space gardening here, urban gardening. I am and was just talking with my neighbor and owner who is going to let me take out one of our. We have this just large, obnoxious bush tree, whatever. I can't even think or remember what the name of it is right now, but we're going to take that out and replace it with a fruit tree, a peach tree we agreed on in our side yard here. And so I'm really kind of excited about that because we'll actually have one now in ground versus all of the ones that we have in containers. So I've got a container frost peach tree. I've got a kind of a dwarf red D'Anjou. I can't even say the name in a container. We've got a couple of apples right now. Hard pressed to think of the names of them exactly right now, though, too. But I have a couple of apple trees that are growing in containers too. And the surprise for me was those apple trees. We get great peaches off of our peach tree, but they're just smaller than the normal, which is frost peach isn't that big, but they're just a little bit smaller peaches. But the apple tree, man, we get the big old juicy fat apples off of the tree last year. I was really surprised that we did, and that was the first real. I mean, I only got like two of them off of the tree, mind you, but it was the first real apples I've been able to harvest off of them since I planted them in the containers. Just I think a couple seasons ago, 2 seasons ago. So they've only been going a couple seasons, but hopefully we'll see a lot more this year. I see already, we had some great blossoms and everything that happened. Really awesome. All trees blossomed. They're right now forming fruits. I see lots of little fuzzy peaches popping up all over the peach tree right now, and several of the pears, because we do have the pear tree just across the way in the alley. And I see some young little fruits trying to form on them, but last year most of those all kind of fell off. So I'm worried, it might, we might see the same thing, but so we'll see about that when that happens. Here in just a few weeks as we start to move more towards the end of spring here, and those fruits just form up just a little bit more. Let's see here. And Alessandro is asking, Peachtree has lots of small fruits, which is awesome. Like I say with ours here, what can I spray it with to keep fruits healthy? Neem oil? Any suggestions? My suggestions: I don't do anything. I try not to spray anything when it comes to my plants, unless it's emergency case only. And at that point, it's that's even neem oils and that sort of stuff. I just yeah, if I've got a real infestation with some of my other crops and things like that, and something I just really feel inclined to actually try to do or save, I will do that. But for the most part in my garden, if it goes to pest, if I can't control it or I can't keep keep them back and at bay through taking care of or trying to stop their natural life cycle, then then for me it's better luck next year. As I always say, I like to think of gardening and baseball very similarly. Is that if the season doesn't go well in baseball, we always say we got next season. So and that's kind of the way it goes for a lot of my plants. That's why I grow a lot of things, though. That's why I have a lot of stuff growing. I grow a lot of make sure I have lots of variety in my garden, so that if I am losing something here or there, that then it isn't really affecting the overall output of what my garden is ultimately, though. Okay, let's see here. We should be. Make sure we're seeing everybody. Oh, we got Alexandria joining us from North Carolina. Awesome. Great to see you today. Thank you for joining with us. Keith Scott from North Alabama. Thank you for being here. Awesome. Awesome. Yep. And Rob's Allotment Garden from the United Kingdom. Awesome. Great to have all of you here with me, and be sure again to keep the comments coming, and especially the questions here. And just as we will welcome our first guest of the show here in just a few moments. Let's Get Growing is sponsored by IV Organic.
Hi, my name is Charles Malky, biologist and plant expert with Ivory Organics, where we grow cool plants, and author, Saving the World with the Home Garden. Ivory Organic 3-in-1 Plant Guard has 7 natural oils that protect your plants, not just from the summer heat as well as winter cold, but also protects your plants from damaging insects and rodents. The oils in the product include castor, cinnamon, clove, garlic, peppermint, rosemary, and spearmint. These oils are natural insect and rodent repellent oils, which are encapsulated by the base powder, offering your plants months of protection at a time. 1 application per year will suffice for protection against damaging summer sunburn and winter sun scald, but if the target is pests, application as much as 2 to 3 times a year may be necessary.
Hi everyone, this is Sarah from Sarah's Seed Shop, here with this week's trivia question. What specialized plant cells are responsible for bringing water and nutrients from the roots to the rest of the plant? A. Parenchyma cells. B. Collenchyma cells. C. Xylem cells. Or D. Phloem cells. We'll be back with the answer to this question a little later on in the show.
All right. We're actually challenging you there this week with our question of the week there from Sarah at Sarah's Seed Shop. That one there, I'm gonna have to really think about. I know, I'm kidding. I already know the answer, but do you know the answer? Let us know in the comments there. And for our first guest today, we have a return guest for our "Are You Following Me" segment.
Are you following me? Are you following me, dude?
All right. Let's welcome back to the show Robert and Nathan, formerly of Growing with Nathan last year on the show, but joining us today as Steam Puzzle.
Yes.
Hey, welcome back to the show. Thanks, guys, for joining us.
Thank you. We love coming back.
Hello, Enoch.
Hey, good to see you. Good to see you. Last year you joined us for the show and it was just me and you talking. Now this year we got your dad with us, huh?
Yes.
Well, last year we had the show focusing on him, and he enjoyed making the show, but he encouraged me to join with the fun. So we found a way that we both can collab together and have fun.
Don't say it like that, please. Say it like collaborate.
Collaborate.
How fun. It's great too. And that's, and I think that was, something we really kind of did touch on and talk about a little bit last year, Nathan, was that, it was really something that you and your dad got to do together and enjoy together, was working together, making the videos and not only making the videos and doing that, but, actually getting to grow and garden together, right?
Absolutely. We found a way to just we bond together when we're doing our hydroponics, and then we also bond together when we do our videos. When we have a lot of fun just doing the videos, so that's why we decided to do it live, kind of like what you do.
Yeah. I saw that you do and have kind of got a nice live stream kind of focus as well, sort of kind of what we've done here on our channel as well. So it is fun. It's great to be able to get there, do a live stream and connect and that sort of thing. I know one of the things we did also talk a little bit about last year as well too is that we'll talk a little bit about your garden and all that, but it wasn't necessarily just gardening that you really enjoy, Nathan, but you also love science and these other things. So there's that kind of a part of the transition and change towards what you do now with your channels?
Yeah, it kind of was. We were gardening because I just liked gardening when we started it, and I just wanted a YouTube channel from the start. And
Yeah.
when I got it, I was like, you know, we can do other things with this channel.
Yeah.
And that's when me and my dad got the idea to be more of a scientific channel and an
Yeah.
everything channel.
Great answer.
Yeah, yeah, awesome answer. And in growing and gardening and all of that is really a lot of science as well, anyways, right?
Yeah, yes, it is. And pretty much it is.
That's right.
There is a lot of science to it. Adding the proper amount of nutrients, knowing when to add water and the amount of light needed, knowing when to have a light. Companion plants still play a role in hydroponics. And just overall, just general care is not as difficult outside, and it's because it's more controlled.
Yeah, yeah. And one of the things I know you do focus on, and you've got right there in the background, is you guys do a lot of like hydroponic growing, indoor gardening with
Yes.
hydroponics.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that project and how
Right.
you grow indoors?
We actually started growing indoors, but then
Yeah.
like a week later we started doing outdoor gardening too, and then later on in the channel we started doing community garden center, and it was really fun.
Oh,
We,
right.
we, we enjoy doing the indoor gardening. It allows us to do it pretty much all day and a little at a time, not have to say, okay, today we're going out. It's 100 degrees outside. No, we can just go in our little room we have here and go, okay, let's just clip a little tomatoes off, trim the plants, add some water, 5 minutes. We still have 4 tomato plants over a year old, and we've gotten quite a few tomatoes off of them.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, I think on our promo thumbnail, you're showing us some of those little tomatoes that you're growing there too, as well, right? Yeah.
And we also do the science experiments. We have some lettuce growing in our other smaller units, and we measure how much they grow per day based on how much light and water, and we have fun with that. And we also throw little Pokemon characters in there for fun.
Yeah, exactly. You got to have fun with what you're doing, right?
Yes, sir.
That's right. So what are some of your favorite things you've been doing lately since we talked to you last?
Well, one of my favorite things I've been doing lately is, well, snap circuits. We've been doing snap circuits for a long time in our channel now. They are pretty much just they're pretty much just circuits that you build yourself with different circuit parts that you snap on top of each other.
Okay. Like
Nathan, go ahead. Sorry.
Kind of like maybe Legos, but circuits. Just kind of build them in a way.
Kind
like
of,
just
but they're not
putting
really.
them together, little pieces.
Yeah, kind of, but they're not even bricks.
Right. They're wouldn't be bricks. You would just have different types of pieces of circuit stuff, right? Yeah.
Nathan enjoys all around STEAM stuff, science, technology, engineering, art, and math, and then what was it? Agriculture? You said it was part of as well.
Yeah, agriculture. The agriculture is growing the plant.
Yeah.
Pretty much everyone would know that by now.
Yeah. Right.
Well, a lot of people would, not pretty much everyone.
Hey, everybody should know watching Let's Get Growing, right?
That's right. That's right, huh? Exactly. That's what we love to do around here is growing. That's good. Okay. And so with all of this, there is science and technology and all of this sort of learning and education that you're getting. What is your dream job? Have you thought about what you want to be when you get older?
I don't know. I've had many thoughts about it, when I was 4, I thought about being a doctor.
Yep.
And then when I was 5 and to 6, I thought about being a computer coder. And then when I was 7 to 7, I don't know.
And his birthday's next week.
Yeah.
Turning big 9.
Yeah.
9 years old. Wow.
Yeah. From when I was 7 years old to right now, I do not know at all.
Yeah. Don't know at all. You're a little young to actually know for sure, right? But it's great to kind of have ideas and think of ideas about how cool it would be to do certain things. But yeah, it's great what you guys do though too, and that you get the you're getting like that daily education every day on these sort of subjects that really kind of keeps you focused on some really great ideas later on.
Absolutely, it does. It's also just the time that we get to spend together. You know, there's countless of things fathers and sons can do together, but you know, this is our special bond that not we share together, but it allows us to kind of share with others to show that, you know, that there's bond between father and son doing plants. Don't see a lot of that online.
Yeah. And then again, too, you're also making and sharing that with others by, putting out your channel and sharing that bond with other people, which is really cool. So what are some of those things you guys have real fun, like when you're filming together? Because I bet you guys, kind of have a bit of fun, or some things that we don't get to see on camera, right?
Well, a lot of the stuff we changed our format. We actually film our episodes live. The filming of our episodes. Everything.
Okay.
Everything from start to finish. We come up, Nathan and I come up with an idea, and we'll sit them to the side. We'll go to lunch or something and talk about it. And they're like, okay, we have our idea. Then we'll come in here and we'll set up a live stream of us filming the episode. You see all the bloopers, all the mistakes, all the little bickerments we have, and all the laughter as well, you know. And then after that, I go along and I go on DaVinci Resolve and I show how I edit it. Nathan comes in there and throws his input, and we all laugh and have fun. And then it allows us, our fans and our family and our friends, to have a little of input into our creation of our videos. And it's been a real good experience.
Yeah, that's quite a bit. I mean, so you just really give everybody that whole experience though too. I think that's really interesting. I don't think I've really ever seen anybody do that.
And that was some of the research, and that also explains why we went from growing with Nathan, then we did like a STEM adventures, and we couldn't find a name that fits our niche and
fits what we do.
Nathan came up with the STEAM idea, and the puzzle we had played around, and it fits.
Yeah.
The puzzle was actually, the idea was taken from my mom, because my mom always does a bunch of puzzles.
Okay.
and our channel's a little bit of everything, so it fits in.
Yes, it does.
Well, there you go, because now you get, within your name, you get to include your mom in the whole adventure as well, too.
Yeah, she comes in backstage, and she's a great supporter, great cheerleader.
That's awesome. That's so great, man. I really love what you guys do. I really like that, again, one of the things that I love to do and promote, especially as people who are, educating and teaching next generation these sort of valuable information that they need to know to carry on. And agriculture, as far as us, being a growing and gardening channel, is, one of our real focuses is making sure that we're highlighting people who are, who are doing things in that sort of space, that are teaching and showing how fun gardening and growing, and in your case too, incorporating science and learning and all of that, and family and all of it together, how important that really is to kind of highlight for people, so that they can see that growing is and gardening especially, again, like I said, that's the focus of what our channel is really important to hand down, and I think you're doing a great job with that.
Appreciate that, Enoch. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
do got one thing to show you of
Okay,
why
what do you get?
hydroponic is awesome.
Okay,
Right.
yes, let's talk a little more about hydroponics.
This is how easy it is. You just reach over, and you pop off a tomato, and you have yourself a little bite-sized snack any time of the day.
That's great. I love it. That's great. So what variety of tomatoes are those?
These are Air Garden Heirloom. They were mislabeled as golden, but they come out very plump and red. And depending on when you give you nutrients, because outdoor gardening, you have to add your nutrients ever so often, and depending on what type you get, it's either direct feed or slow release. The nutrients is based on the water volume, so you add an X amount per the amount of volume that you have in your reservoir. And then you just keep adding fresh water as the plant drinks. The plant will create some air roots and allows it to get some air along with the water. And you don't have any dirt roots at all, which is makes it real easy.
Makes it real easy. Soilless gardening indoors. I wanted to ask you though too. Let's talk just real quick before I let you go. Let's talk a little bit. You do guys garden and have an outdoor garden as well, right?
At the moment, we do not. We have a few plants out. We have some milkweed, non-native Florida milkweed that we grow some monarch caterpillars on, and they just devoured the bush.
One of the caterpillars even is in a chrysalis right now.
Yeah, we got one chrysalis growing. And then we also have some other vegetation, and we have some floral plants outside that we're taking care of that we're not really showing. I'm not an expert outdoor like yourself. Still an amateur gardener, even in
I like to say I am too, for sure. We never really know everything for sure.
Though one great thing about what we do is Nathan's part of the garden club at his school. And a lot of his classmates enjoy working with us. I come in there and volunteer, and we have a very hardy garden growing at his school.
So they have a garden space there at your school, Nathan?
Yeah, yes. The area used for it used to be not used at all. And so some of my past teachers thought of using that garden area that was outlined by bricks and creating a new club at school. And eventually they came with the idea of a gardening club. And a lot of people joined. It's like 60 people.
Yeah.
People from kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, and fifth grade.
That's amazing. That is so cool. That is great that you even have that opportunity at your school. What are some of the things you're growing over there at that garden?
We're growing bell peppers, different kinds of bell peppers.
Okay, yes.
We're growing tomatoes, okra, lettuce.
Some peas, some radishes.
And
basil. Yeah.
And
you have 3 different versions of beans. Got some yard beans and some we also finished one of our series of beans. Nathan, about 6 months ago, brought home a school bean that he grew in a cup from 3rd grade.
Yes.
And we took it out of the dirt and we ended up putting it into the hydroponic plant. And we started growing. We have it all filmed and documented in one of our episodes. And then Dad here accidentally poured a little too much hydrogen peroxide, bleached the roots.
Boom!
We almost thought it was
died.
Yeah, we didn't think it was going to survive, but a little bit of TLC. We nursed it back, and at the end, we ended up getting about 6 beans grown off of it and completed our challenge.
And we made a nice video about that history of the plant.
Yeah. The final video actually airs tonight at 6:00 on our channel.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. That's really awesome. Yeah, definitely. And if anybody who's watching right now hasn't subscribed or checked out their channel, we do have a link right down in the description below, so you can go and check out that video there and see that. So at least you learned something from that lesson, right? There's always something to learn, even in our mistakes, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, you guys, it's really awesome to have you guys back here on the show with us again and be able to catch up.
We appreciate being back on your show, Enoch.
and to be able to catch up with what you've been doing and growing up and all of that too. Happy birthday to you, 9 years old coming up, Nathan. Awesome. And again, thank you for joining with us too again this year.
Thank you, sir. I look forward to next time.
All right, you guys. We'll catch up with you here, hopefully on a future show.
Absolutely. We have some big things coming up ahead. So I hope everybody watches your show and then when they got time to check us out.
See you soon.
You betcha. Links down below. Go check them out.
Thank you. Bye.
Hey, gardeners. Thanks for tuning in to our show today. We'll be right back at it here in just a moment. I just wanted to take a second here to highlight our regular videos and features here on the Urban Gardener channel. Our weekly garden journals, and our incredible feature visits.
The answer to this week's trivia question is C. Like other organisms, plants are made up of many different kinds of cells that work together and have different functions. Xylem cells are primarily found in woody plants, and their main function is to bring up water and soluble nutrients, distributing it throughout the plant and ensuring the plant's continued health and growth. Thanks for participating in this week's trivia question. Head on over to Sarah's Seed Shop where you can find garden seeds at unbeatable prices. Thanks and enjoy the rest of the show.
All right, all right. Excellent, excellent. How much fun was that getting to catch up with Nathan? Formerly, like I said, he was their channel name was Growing with Nathan last year when we had him on the show. Just a nice, fun, special kid there. And one of the things you guys don't get to see is our background I have in what is our online studio. And as I brought them out, we went to our break. I saw them giving each other just a big high five and a hug and all of that too. And I just thought that was just really awesome, so special and great to see a family do things together like that, and also again sharing it with all of us and here on our show and as well on their channel that we, like I said, we got a link down below. Go check them out. Go give them a subscription to their channel. Tell them hi from the Let's Get Growing show and give them some love from us as well too. That's just really cool and awesome to have back on our show too. So right on. So again too, hope everybody's got a lot of great things growing on in their gardens right now. I've got a bunch of things going on and growing on right now that I'm this is that time of year really, especially for me and in where I'm at in my area and climate and all of that. We're just pushing as fast as we can on all sorts of different projects and things in our different garden spaces. And this just the other day, we were planting out potatoes out in our my friend's front yard garden plots. We got these really cool big 20-foot by 40-foot plots. And last year we grew, like just in this one little section, we grew some potatoes and grew a couple of different varieties of potatoes that we grew there. And we took those potatoes, we just held on to them and kept them for our seed potato this year. And so we let them stay in the ground as long as I possibly could. And then we took them out and then we kept them stored away for planting for this season. So now we've got a big long row of them. So it was really great to get out there and plant them out. And I still got some extras too. So I'm thinking of using some of these seed potatoes and maybe starting up some container potatoes again too. I haven't grown those for a couple of seasons yet. We used to grow them like in these big storage containers, and we just drill some holes down in the bottom of some old used storage containers and fill them up with some good soil and plant them out just as like you would anywhere else. And again, they do well. I know they do well. We had several really good seasons, but the one thing about potatoes is you just really never know what you're going to get until you dig them up. You can get these big, nice, beautiful plants, which I'm expecting with our front yard garden. We'll have these big, long row of potato plants that are growing, and they'll just be these big, beautiful plants. But we will never know what we get ultimately until we start digging them up. And one of the things that we're lucky about with growing them in my friend's front yard like that, and in these in-ground plots in such a big row like we've got this year, is that we've got a lot of plants planted. So we'll definitely have plenty of potatoes for the both of us anyways, and probably sharing with all of our friends out there as well too. So so that's kind of what I got done most recently there. I'm going to just go and do it. It is said to be a last frost date in mid-May for us here in Southern Oregon, but the weather's been so warm. We had just an amazingly warm winter. I mean, mind you, it was 68 degrees on the second day of the year here. I mean, we sat and broke some records as far as temperatures here this winter. And so it's warm. The forecast I'm looking at is really warm. I mean, it's definitely above 40s going into the 10-day for us right now, which is heading into next month. And so if anything's going to happen, if there is any possible late freeze, which mind you still can happen, I'm going to be prepared. I'll get out and cover these tomatoes and all of that, but I want to get them started. We've got hot temperatures that are going to be in the forecast in the next couple of months, and I want to get some good established strong plants so that they can hopefully maybe give me some good fruit beforehand, and then maybe hopefully be able to withstand some of the heat through the summer, and we'll get some really great crops off of them as we move towards the fall. So lots of great things growing on here for us. I hope you guys all have some things growing on in your gardens as well. Jump into the comments there. Let me know what you got growing on. And so let's see here. Again, like I was telling you, we've got a couple of return guests. It was really awesome to see Nathan here just a minute ago. But we also have a return guest with our featured guest today. So
you never know when you might learn something. And that's what this is about for me. These are people that I admire. Please welcome my next guest.
All right. And so we are welcoming back to the show the author of How to Become a Gardener. I love this book. This is one of my favorite books. So I'm really glad to have Ashlie back on the show with us today. Hey, Ashlie, thanks for coming back and joining with us again.
Hi, good to be here. It's always exciting to talk about something that we're both deeply passionate about.
Yes, that was again too one of the things I never really expect, and a lot of people I get to meet for the first time through the show, and we get to have these conversations, and every time I'm kind of like, oh, I hope everything goes well, before the show starts and all of that. And that was the same back when I met you the first time. Was, oh, I hope this is going to really go well. You get kind of nervous as the show's getting started, and mind you, I do get nervous back here before everything gets going, like anybody else. People say, oh, you do so well, you look like you're and I'm like, no, believe me, sometimes it's just like I'm not ready to go yet. Mm-hmm. And a lot of that is wondering about the conversation, and that was one of the things I just enjoyed so much about meeting you this last year on the show, is that we had just such a great conversation about, again, something we're both really, really passionate about, and that's gardening and growing.
That's right. I enjoyed it. It was such a natural conversation. And I've met you a couple of times since then. So it's
I
just
know.
always,
Yeah, that was
but I feel you with the social anxiety. Oh my gosh. I think a lot of, I still get nervous.
yeah, I know too. And again, too, even though we had this great conversation too, I did get to meet you at the National Heirloom Expo
That's
and your husband as well too. And I was remember, oh, look, again too, it's like in person now we're getting to meet and everything. And so, but no, it was really fun to get to see you and that as well at the expo there this last year. What was that experience like for you?
That was incredible. For one,
Yeah.
I think besides meeting some of the, some of these growers that I'm used to seeing on social media, or better yet, like following their YouTube channels, it was just great to see everyone in person. There's nothing like that in-person connection. And I think, the pandemic really kind of disrupted us being able to connect physically. But I
Yeah.
enjoyed my favorite part. This is going to sound so crazy. Uh, my favorite part of that festival or that expo was the watermelon station. So many different
Oh,
watermelons that we got to try. And we got seeds, of course, but I just love that, just being able to like engage in the form of eating with so many different types of foods.
yeah, they do such an incredible job, as expositioning food and all of these crops and all that sort of stuff. The fun thing is the room where you get to see all the different varieties right there live in front of you on a table, and they're all labeled out and you just never really know how many different varieties of things are until you can really just
Right.
see them like right in front of you, like that. It's really great. And like you said, the watermelon thing, back in like I think it was 2018 when they were in Northern California, they had just this amazing watermelon year. And there were watermelons everywhere. People were carrying out watermelons by the armloads after the show because they sell off and give away a lot of that produce that after the show is over.
I loved it. I think it really just speaks to, or really highlights the magnitude of food diversity. And we are, consumers are so limited
Hmm.
in what
Yep.
we have access to. But
Yeah.
being at these expos and seeing, how many different crops, how many different types of vegetables and fruits that exist within the domains that
Hmm.
we're used to, um,
Yeah.
opens your mind to possibilities, right?
Yes.
Allows you to celebrate where these foods come from, how they even got to be, here in 2024 when some of these things
Yeah.
are resilient. They originated centuries ago. So it was really great to be a part of that and just learning so much from so many other growers.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's just one of the things they just do so well with that expo. One of the reasons why I just always make sure I'm there every year. I just love it so much that you get to see all of that, like you said. I myself, and again too, kind of one of the parts and focuses of your book, And real quick, I just wanted to point out, Rob says, I bought that book after Ashley's first visit.
Oh,
So,
Rob.
so yeah, awesome, exactly. You want to check out this book; it's really great. But one of the things is you do talk a little about food system and all of that too. And I was one of those people that really I loved growing house plants and had this passion for growing since I was a kid. So it was, my story does start when I was younger, but yet I didn't think about food growing though
Yeah.
until I was much older.
Yep.
And I was and participated in the whole regular food system.
Mm,
So when I thought about tomatoes, I only thought about those couple of types of tomatoes you would see, the small ones and the medium and big ones, that you get at the grocery store, or if it's any other type of thing. You only think about these certain different varieties that you see there, and you don't understand that there are hundreds of varieties of these different things, whether it's peppers, you can see the peppers, the big yellow, orange, red,
that's right.
green, and don't really realize that there's all of these just massive varieties and so much more out there when you get to explore your food a little bit more and where it comes from and how it's grown.
That's right. 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 I think, for many of us, who started growing food. Many of us don't have that background where, we grew up on a farm, and if you did, it's really amazing. But I did not have that experience of being surrounded by watching how food was produced. It was only when I recognized a problem, and I was able to kind of put two and two together from a life experience, a very pivotal life experience of watching my grandfather maintain a garden, where I was able to say, whoa, you can grow
Yeah.
food from the ground. Like, this is incredible. And I was already always a nature kid
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
So much so I got a degree in biology, or my first degree was in biology. But I love being outdoors. So you think, how is food produced? And then really, how do we get more of the foods that we need? And how do we produce those things? But at the same time, how do we become one and work together with nature to get what we need so that everything thrives, not just the humans, but also
Mhm.
our ecosystem, our environments as well.
Yeah, yeah, and finding and making that connection, and that was one of the things that I really benefited from when I made these discoveries.
Right.
These light bulbs start going up. You're like, "Whoa, wait a minute," there's so much more to all of this than what I even thought I was getting into when I first just thought, "Hey, I'm gonna grow something. I'm just gonna garden hobby type of thing,"
Right. That's
And
right.
then you start connecting more and realizing that these larger aspects of what's going on, right?
Right. It's kind of the evolution, right? As
Yep.
a gardener, we're also kind of planting seeds within ourselves of just knowledge and becoming more aware. So it's like a natural flow. You tend to gravitate towards, oftentimes growing food. It's
Mhm.
great to hear everyone's journey on how they've gotten there.
Yeah, yeah, and again, too, for some of us, like yourself, younger age and these connections you get to have through family and that sort of stuff, which is something I really like to highlight. It wasn't necessarily much of my story because I didn't get too much of a connection when I was younger to the food growing aspect. My mother did pass on a passion for growing, like I said, indoor plants, which, without that, who knows if I would have found, later on in my life, that sort of thing anyways. But I love that story and those sort of things of connection, and especially learning about that. And similar to like seeing our first guest that we had there, young Nathan, who
Oh my
joined with us last year, and working together with him and his father, putting together their projects and learning about science and growing and all that sort of stuff together as a family project. I think those things are just so special and really awesome that we're passing things down the next generation, because that's really important as well.
Yeah. First of all, can I just shout out Nathan? Was he
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
9-year-old?
The
Oh,
nine years is next week, right?
what an incredible personality. When he was talking, I could just see how passionate he was about, science, and just he had this curiosity. And I just remembered, like, I look back on, my life when I was 9 years old. I was really this nerd kid. I like to tell people I used to carry around the science box. Everyone listening, this is a secret between all of us, okay? Don't tell anyone. I used to carry around this science box that had different types of wires. I just like to pick things apart,
Mhm.
figure things out. And he kind of reminded me of that. And he was so, the way he was able to kind of articulate what he's doing and the rationale behind these things. Kudos to his parents. Incredible, incredible young kid, a young man, kid,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
who's, I could tell that he's got a really bright future because he's got a really bright present.
Yes, exactly. And again, too, it's just so great and awesome to be able to highlight, folks like that doing these sort of things together again, too. So it was really great to be able to have them back again. And we'll have to catch up with them more as Nathan grows along and see where he ends up as we move forward. Because again, like you said, he's got a really good, bright future. But yeah, definitely though. Again, so you just recently moved, I believe, right?
I did.
Yeah, yeah. So I want to kind of dig into the garden you left behind a little bit, and then talk about the garden you are gonna uh, be growing here in the future and all of that. But tell us a little bit more about the move,
Mhm.
where you are, where you live, or where you did live and where you are living today.
That's right. So, yes, very exciting stuff happened. A lot of folks, I will say, before I even detail this, a lot of folks were like, oh my gosh, how could you have left something that you invested so much time,
Mm,
so many resources
yeah,
into? And, when I think about kind of, just life, none of this is promised. All of this is temporary. We
yeah.
are simply stewards of every place that we are planted. My mother used to tell me, bloom where you are planted. And in
Hmm.
that season for nearly 6 years, my husband and I, we cultivated this space into an oasis, into a haven that was going to not only serve us, but that we could also serve it and serve the nature around it. So we did I think that we left that place in a better position than it was. And that is,
Yeah,
as a land steward, that is our responsibility. And that was just the main thing on our minds. Of
yeah,
course, it was bittersweet when anytime you're transitioning, but it wasn't a sad move because this is what we put intentionality behind that. We knew
yeah,
that it was time for us to transition. We were kind of outgrowing that space. We knew that that wasn't going to be our forever home, but we wanted to make sure that one, that yes, it was a personal, space that we built, but we didn't want to make it so personal that it wouldn't sell, right? This thing
right.
had to be marketable for the next, stewards that were going to come in. And thankfully, we got a really good steward that purchased that property and
Yeah,
was very interested in taking the garden and making it their own. So that was something that we
that's
decided,
great.
and we planned to transition out for about 2 years, actually. We didn't really make that vocal, maybe to some in our inner circle, but we knew a few years back that that wasn't going to be our forever home. So we did the best we could, maintaining the space and growing as much as we could, but also keeping a lookout for the type of property that we were interested in ultimately building our forever home, and and our
Yeah,
homestead. So
yeah.
we purchased 10 and a half acres earlier
Oh,
this
nice.
year. Yes, 10 and a half acres earlier this year. It's not too far from the property that we just sold. Um, and we're excited. We've got to jump through some hoops and some loops, in terms of regulations and development. But we are
Yeah,
down for the ride, and we're excited. We're very excited. We were excited to pass off the house that we just sold, and we're
yeah.
excited for the new beginnings. And I know folks are probably curious to say, like, well, are you guys living on the property now? No.
No.
Is raw, undeveloped land.
Oh,
Yes, it's raw, undeveloped land, meaning
fresh start.
fresh start. And with
Yeah.
fresh starts, there's a lot of things that you've got to kind of plan. So, Tyler's putting on his developer hat for this, and I'm putting
Mhm.
on my really digging back into my biologist days to really understand the magnitude of what we're working with as a blank canvas to make sure that we are being as responsible as possible with this property that we've been blessed with.
Yeah. So what's kind of the overall vision? I mean, you're talking homestead now, not just a garden, right? This is gonna be an operation, right? This is gonna be
Yes, operation over time. Um,
yeah, yeah.
when I think of homestead, that I think that that's what we are kind of opening our minds to. What does that mean?
Mhm. Yeah,
Because what is something that we're going to be interested in? Producing on this land. Do we want to sell? And if so, how do we want to sell? How do we want to distribute what we produce on this
yeah,
property? But at the same time, it's really what is our goal with this? And these were things that we're not just thinking about right now. We were thinking about this years ago before we sought 10 and a half acres out.
yeah, yeah.
But really, we want a safe space for our family and our friends, and for me to do all of my, educating. I do a lot of nutrition education, and really just bringing together and speaking about the intersections of health, wellness, and, like Nathan said, agriculture. Agriculture is really the foundation of so many things. It's the foundation of life. Yeah.
Mhm.
And,
Yes.
and I believe that there's a wonderful opportunity to really emphasize that on our homestead. So, yes, we're going to be building our home from scratch. My husband's going to be doing that. I'm going to be designing what our gardens will look like. We're thinking about making it about two acres, or an acre or so
Yeah.
of gardens, and that's significantly bigger than what we were working with before.
Are you coming from the mindset of maybe more market garden versus, a traditional garden?
You know,
Because I mean, it's a lot of space. I mean,
It
you're
is. It is. And honestly, with my career, I don't know if I want to go complete market right now.
yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
later. But for now, I think it's really just setting the stage. We've got a lot more knowledge than we did
yeah.
when we started our garden.
Mhm.
We know exactly how to plan this the way we would, thinking about 10, 20 years ahead of time.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
want to think ahead as we're designing this space. So I'm going to say we're going to design off, initially a space for us to produce year round and distribute it
yeah.
for, for now, for to local,
Mhm.
distributing it locally. Once we get into selling, that's a whole different ballgame. There
Yeah,
are policies and regulations around being able to sell your produce. It's not just, hey, I'm just going to enter into a market to sell. Here in North Carolina. There are regulations. So
yeah.
we like to make sure that, especially with me serving on so many of these organizations, I kind of know these policies. But at
Mhm.
the same time, I think that that's to my advantage of being able to connect with individuals that can help us to break into a very specific market that's going to meet the demands of our local community. And when I say local, I'm speaking towns. I'm speaking
Yeah.
maybe the towns that are neighboring us, because these towns they have the needs in terms of food, nutritious food access.
And this a little more rural?
It's rural-ish. Yeah.
Yeah.
It just
Okay.
it's got like this it's in a rural-like town, but
Yeah.
we're still nearby to many like grocery stores and restaurants, and my university is maybe 10 minutes away. So um, it's not off the grid, let's just say that.
Right.
We want it
Okay.
that way.
All right. Let's see here. I got a question for you. Alexandria writes in here saying, "Hi, Ashley. Big fan here for many years. Do you plan on gardening in your temporary space? And if so, how do you plan on tackling this? I myself am in a temporary space and would love to garden."
Yes, so that's a good question. Our temporary space that we are in, it's not too far from our property. We are, it's so much smaller than what we were used to. But I'm going to tell you, going from, this 5,000 square foot garden to this back patio, I'm excited. Like,
Yeah, there you go.
like thrilled. We immediately set up. We knew that when we made this transition, remember I said we had been planning. And so a year ago, we knew that we were going to need to stay in something temporary while we were building our house. And at least we wanted it very close to the property. So we're about 20 minutes away from our house, or our property is about 20 minutes away from our house. And where we are now is about 5 minutes away from our property. Here we've got this back patio. It's got a cement pad, and we've got our neighbors and stuff. So we had to think about sunlight. We had to think about, what is going to be the best use of our space, and how can we grow in a way that's not going to overcrowd and even violate some of the rules in this neighborhood, right? So we're growing vertically. We've got these vertical planters that allows us to grow about 40 to 50 plants in each slot. I love those. I've been growing with these for about 4 years now. So we just brought those over. We're also using containers. These are methods that I'm already familiar with because we did a lot of container gardening in our previous home. So we're just bringing forth these small space methods to
Yeah.
actually grow everything that we would want to eat as much as possible.
Yeah, yeah. See, and here's a case of why one of those things I encourage people though too is that's our specialty here, is small
Yeah,
space, urban gardening, containers,
yeah,
elevated raised beds on cement patios,
that's right.
incorporating rooftop spaces if you're lucky enough to have nice flat rooftops that you can use, in those sort of places, and just finding incorporating little spaces that you can use to do that. And I always say that even if you have bigger property, you can always be a small space
That's right.
container gardener as well. And one of the reasons for learning and figuring out some of these sort of things is you never know in the future when you might be in a transition situation
That's right.
and you might have to incorporate some of those skills just to get by for a little while.
That's right. That is one of the biggest things that I used to emphasize even in that other, the other garden that we used to have. It had a she shed, the chicken coop, the greenhouse, all of these things.
Mhm.
And what I wanted to emphasize to people even then was that we did not start there, right?
Yeah.
You can grow no matter what space you have. And it is still my goal, even in this interim space, to say that you can grow some things and you can grow productively. You
Yeah.
can grow prolifically as well, even on your back patio with,
Mhm.
3 or 4 planters. Um,
Yep.
We've got some really cool things that we're growing, and these are what we're focusing on are vegetables and food plants that we love to eat and that
Yeah.
we spend, we would go to the grocery store and purchase regularly.
Yeah, yeah. So what are some of those things that you got planted out, or have you started anything yet?
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. As soon as we
Mhm.
moved in, like I had my plan already set up. I knew exactly what we were going to grow because before we moved in here, I actually came by to look at how the sun moved.
Oh,
And I
wow.
did
There you
it on our
go.
property as well. But I wanted to watch what the movement of the sun throughout the day. And so that helped me to understand what we could anticipate throughout the year. And luckily, we're in a really good sunny spot. So we're growing some kale, obviously rainbow kale. We're
Oh,
growing
yeah.
Swiss chard, squash, and zucchini. I will say that we typically have an issue with squash vine borers, with squash here in North Carolina. I'm very curious to
Uh,
see if we're going to have that issue with these vertical planters. If so, we'll troubleshoot and put something else in its place. I'm prepared.
yeah.
So growing beans, tomatoes, peppers, fish peppers to be exact. Um,
Oh,
we're growing, I think the big German Johnson tomatoes, but also some of these cherry tomatoes. And
yeah.
because this is a smaller space, we're focusing on some one of our indeterminate varieties. You want to kind
Mhm.
of have a strategy with indeterminates because
Yes.
they will grow and crawl to the sky if you let them.
Yep.
So our strategy is to really make sure that we maintain it in a way that's going to be manageable for a small space. The other
Yeah.
varieties or cultivars are bush varieties, so we have they're not going to need as sturdy of trellising as the indeterminates. Of course, our medicinal herbs and culinary herbs, um,
Mhm.
beans. So really, I mean,
Yeah, you just
now.
yeah, I was just say that's a great list of all sorts of awesome things, definitely.
Yeah,
And that's a big point though too, is that those are all things you can grow in small spaces. I mean, it's almost limitless when it comes down to it. Size of containers kind of matters for some things like your bigger tomatoes,
That's
but
right.
you know, most things don't. You know, I use 5 gallon buckets around my spaces. I grow all sorts of awesome things and have great production in most everything I grow.
That's
You
right.
know, other than larger tomatoes, those I'll have to put in a bigger container, but
Right.
you know, cherry tomatoes, smaller size, medium tomatoes are just fine in those sort of spaces. But you can grow things, you know. Of course, you know, a lot of people are, you know, the in-ground space is always best because
Yeah.
we love our great in-ground when you get that just awesome soil that's just working and just amazing for plants. You know, that is the best way. It's what plants prefer. But
Hmm.
plants are resilient. Plants can grow, and you know, plants want to produce,
That's right.
and you know, they will when it comes to even small spaces as well. So you know, the list, you can almost just make a big long list like you just provided us there in any space.
And that's right. And you know, even with the tomatoes, you know, I knew because we grow them, you know, every year. We needed those to be in separate containers. I wanted to give them as much space as possible, but I think that what makes me so excited about this phase of our journey is that this is a challenge for us to be able to say, you said that you can grow no matter what space you have. So,
Mhm.
and so this is really just opening the doors of you're going to get the exact same excitement. You're going to get me showing off what we produce as well, but also me educating that you can produce nutritious foods even in a smaller space. It's just going to take a little bit of finessing, a little
Yep.
bit of planning, and also just some level setting on expectations. Because I
Yep.
think I mentioned this previously in a previous episode that oftentimes we look at social media and we say, oh my gosh, I want acres and acres of land so that I can produce
Mhm.
all of the food, that I can. But the expectation there is that when you produce all of that food, what are you going to do with it? What are you
Mhm.
going to do? Are you going to process all of it and be able to save it for yourself or distribute it out? Because all of that stuff takes energy and it takes resources. And
Yeah.
then another thing is really counting your blessings in what you have right now. And I can say right now that I am so grateful that we got the opportunity to cultivate the space that we had in our home that we just sold. But I am
Mhm.
so thankful that we have this opportunity to still to still grow good food, even in this smaller space. Just because it's small does not mean that it's not as impactful, but it is.
That's
It is.
That's right. That's right. And like, you know, like I said, and again too, you know, I focus on that here on my channel. I mean, you can go and jump around and check out some videos we got right here, and you can see that you can grow anywhere. You can grow all sorts of just awesome, wonderful things in containers and do that stuff. And I think that's really cool that you've taken that on in this transitional period between moves into your gardens and be able to still continue
Yeah.
to grow and produce your own food and learn just a little bit more about what your capabilities are when it comes to gardening.
That's right. That's right. And that's the beauty of it. You also mentioned something about you growing fruit trees in containers.
Yeah.
I love watching your content on that. I love it. I'm here for anything small space gardening. I always direct people to your page and your channel. Um, but we actually saved all of our fruit trees. Uh,
Okay.
every
Awesome.
fruit tree, every fruit bush. We've got a trailer full of plants sitting at
Okay.
my grandparents' house that we're going to be moving over to the property. And just like you, we decided to actually years ago to grow our fruit trees in containers because we knew that that wasn't going to be the permanent place, and I didn't want to put
Oh
all
yeah.
that work in.
Yes, right.
Just leave them there. So I
And then the work of having to move them if you did want to move them, right?
right. And so we moved over 25 trees
Oh
in
wow.
containers. That's right.
Oh man, I'm telling you. I got, you know, I've got like my peach tree, which is like my favorite. and it grows really nicely and well in a container. And it was just yesterday I was walking around with the owner, and we were talking about different plans and ideas that I've got, because we're gonna take and put beds in our front yard now. We've got some. This guy has been such a blessing for me too, in a change of ownership that I got this last year, and so we're gonna be able to do that. But one of the things is we're gonna pull out this bush tree that I just I have like this really cool herb garden I planted underneath of it, and it has all of these just unbelievable water roots.
Hmm.
And I pulled them out, and I tried to push them back, and I thought, okay, and I didn't, and I really knew in the back of my mind this is what would end up happening, is
Mhm.
that they just regrew and
Yeah.
started taking up the energy from around where the roots or the herbs and things are growing. And so I was like, man, it would just be so great to remove this and put a like fruit tree there. And he's like, a fruit tree, that would be great.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, and he was like, how about a peach tree? And I was like, peach is perfect. That just sounds awesome. And he was
Yeah.
like, I was like so glad he not only completely agreed with me, but he's like, okay, this is what I want to do it.
That's right.
That because he has a dog named Peaches. So
Oh,
why not have a peach tree, right?
there you go. And name it Peaches. There you go.
Yeah.
Can you
Exactly.
tell me more? When are you going to start this project? That's exciting.
Hopefully in the next week or so. I'm gonna cut that sucker down as soon as I can, and we're gonna get it. I don't know. We're trying to plan and think about how we pull it and try to remove as much as possible. So when it comes down to it, so I'm gonna have to pull out a lot of what my herb garden is,
Mhm.
move things aside. We're gonna pretty much tear up the space, get as much of it out as possible,
Oh boy.
and then reset and get it all set up. And I'm gonna go and probably shop for a new peach tree,
Yeah.
because I was like, I know I got the one in container already, but I want to keep it in a container. I want to keep
Yeah.
doing what I'm doing with it, and then we're gonna get a whole new variety. And one I got in a container is a dwarf variety. We're just gonna get a regular old variety of good peaches and grow that's there. So I'm
Oh
kind of
my
excited about that.
document this. I want to
Mhm.
like see it. I like
I
see like these transformations if you can, if you want
Oh
to.
yeah.
Um,
I've been doing so well with my video content lately. I've always apologized to my audience about that stuff, but I am recording, and I'm definitely going to be doing that, especially when it comes to all the front yard stuff, all of the transformation of the herb garden
yeah.
and putting the tree in. It's gonna be great because it's gonna be our first like fruit tree in the ground.
Yeah.
So, like, you know what I mean? So that's gonna be awesome for me, is to finally be able to plant a tree that will be around for me for as long as I still remain here. I've been here 12 plus years. I might be here that long as well, but it'll be great to have that tree growing there. And then
Right.
later on, the owner can be able to enjoy it and keep it, in
Oh,
future generations.
that's right. Yeah. Oh, I love that.
It's gonna be awesome. I'm really excited about all the sort of stuff that we get to do. I get to get back on the rooftop too. That was one of the big things about my channel when I first got started, was my container rooftop pepper garden.
Mm.
I'm finally gonna be able to get to do that, and get back up on that. And then get to do something that you touched on. And I want to kind of get back to this a little bit with your new space and everything that you're doing. Is that, you're out there, you're helping inform people, and you're teaching people. You wrote this awesome, wonderful book. You want to put on, like you're saying, some more localized education and all that sort of stuff. And that's similar to the sort of thing I'd love to be able to do with my space here too, is finally get this fulfilled to where I first visualized it and what it could be in an urban homestead
Yeah.
type of thing, and then be able to kind of share that again with younger folks and other people in the neighborhood and locally, who could, and show them, inspire them that they can do these similar things themselves,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You want to tell us a little bit more about some of those future plans you've got on those sort of things that you want to do with your,
Yes.
the
So
next phase of what you're doing?
yes, of course. So I will say that I'm not the work that I do outside of like the Mocha Gardener is a lot of community work. I serve on a couple of boards that's really working to
Yeah.
redevelop rural communities, but also increase nutritious food access and improve health outcomes. So that's a lot of my the work that I do in the communities, but also my research is around
Yeah.
nutrition education and kind of see, I keep going back to Nathan because he's literally like the prototype of what I envision for the generation that's coming up, to be more informed, to be excited, to really be aware of, what is possible. And so, of course, I am focused in nutrition, but nutrition in terms of its role in the food systems, and also its role in policy. So I'm hoping to kind of bring all of these things, like I said, to the property. And how I envision this is I'm still thinking this out a bit, because I know that, I'm gonna tell you, we're private people. Uh, I'm
Right.
not really one that's going to open up my home to the
Oh,
community and
right.
have it just this open access thing, because it's still my oasis.
Right.
This is also my health, my wellness, and the health and wellness of my family. So I don't know if we want to open it like that, but in terms of really leveraging technology,
Yeah.
social media, my websites, our
Yeah.
YouTube, to really help to educate and meet people where they are, because not everyone's able to travel as well. And that's something we also speak about. But
Yeah.
being able to use these platforms to really speak about the connection that, nutrition and growing food, how it can really help to improve our health and our wellness.
Yeah, yeah, in a way, kind of almost like for me, I share a lot of stuff more focused online, YouTube, all that sort of stuff, and I'm moving more towards the localized, do this sort of thing. Maybe a little more opposite for you. You're moving towards a more social media and be able to share the sort of things in that sort of fashion through
Yeah.
your blog and different things you do with your social media.
That's right. But you have to remember, I'm already in the community, and that's why.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. A little more opposite than me.
That's right.
I'm not
That's
necessarily. So
right.
that's kind of where I'm heading. Yeah.
That's right. And I'm telling you, it is eye-opening when, because I'm kind of a researcher by nature and by training, to be out in the community, to be in the grounds, to write, to really, do a lot of evidence-based research, in these domains that I'm interested in.
Mhm.
There's nothing like it. I want to be able to come back and really be impactful with my content. And
Yeah.
to me, we're in this world where there's so much information available to folks, right?
Mhm.
It's really just, what type of information do you want to communicate to people? And is
Yeah.
it going to resonate with people? Is it going to be applicable? And I want to make sure that what I'm learning and what I'm teaching is going to truly be helpful for the people who need it. And recognizing the community, getting in touch and engaged with the communities. It's easy to talk about, cultivating community, but if you're not in the community, how can you cultivate it, right?
Right.
If you're not
Yeah.
there, if they don't know who you are, if they haven't,
Exactly.
you don't understand the problems, and maybe even if you're not even opening yourself for community to be a steward for you as well, ugh,
Yeah.
we're missing out on so much. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree completely, and I see that. And one of the things for me though is that my space and my where I grow, I'm growing right on along these alleyways.
That's right.
And I talk about this here too on the show as well, that a lot of what I get in my community connection are people and neighbors and people in my community who walk through my
Mm,
alleyways, and they walk through them specifically because of what I've put there,
wow.
because what I've created, just so that they can check them out. In fact, we opened up the show today with a grouping of these two varieties of tulips that I have that
Mm,
pop up every spring along the alleyway here. And they're probably the focal point of this year, or this time of year, especially, where I get people come by and they're like, oh, these are just amazing. I've had at
mm,
least a half a dozen people in the last week that they've been out and just vibrant. There's just these amazing, like red, yellow, orange, almost fire looking color of
mm.
of tulips, and So I've had like at least a half a dozen people who are like, oh, these are really cool. And I get these connections. So I get them to who want to talk and they want to mention things as I'm out working about and stuff and all of that. So I get that cool interaction through that space I built. In fact, I've got a neighbor who does music, right? This young girl who plays guitar and she records herself doing music. And I was in the house doing some things and I heard some music and singing. And I was like, what is that? I walked out there and she's literally sitting, cross-legged right there in front of the tulips. So the tulips are her background on her video, singing and making a little music video. Like, how awesome and special is that, right?
You know what? See, it's stuff like that. Like, you've got this platform that you are such a great steward over. You share so much wisdom and insight, and you're building this community digitally, yes, but even when we come together physically, it's really great to kind of see you in person. But just using your space, like, that's what it's all about. That to me is what being a gardener is about. It's about growing good food, taking care of plants, learning about this green life around us, but also learning about people and making space for people to be well. And hearing those types of stories, it's like, man, you are gardening goals.
Well, I mean, and I love that sort of stuff so much. And again, too, that is, in kind of coming back to that, what we were saying there in community, though, too, that was kind of in some way, it's a great connection with community that I have, but it's almost, I've almost just limited myself to just the people who kind of come through my space there, and now with these ideas of what we're able to do with like what we're going to do with the front yard, getting back onto the rooftop and stuff, and really kind of incorporating some stuff, it's gotten me in the thought of like, well, how can I expand that out just a little bit more and bring people in versus just having people pass through, not just, and then I already do that by sharing videos and some of the stuff I do with the content online, which is awesome. We have a wonderful worldwide audience, that gets to see some of this sort of stuff. But again, it's that local connection that I'm kind of seeking out now, because I think there's something really valuable about this sort of stuff, and I get to hear about it too through people who pass through.
That's right. Oh, I always learn something from you or take away something that I carry with me for this season. And just kind of watching other, sessions or, sessions that you've done with others. It's just little gems that you drop in. That's a really great point. And I'm actually going to take that little nugget of wisdom and put it in my pocket for this season. Really thinking about ways of, while being authentic to myself and where, the intentions that we have for this property, but what are ways that we can bring, community in? And I think it's got to feel comfortable. It's got to feel relevant. It's got to feel, intentional for us. And I'm thinking small scale, we're introverts. Honestly, it seems like I'm an extrovert, but I'm an introvert.
Sometimes I really feel I'm in the middle of that, and it's weird that some of us can be outgoing as much as we are sometimes,
That's right.
But here's another one too, kind of touching on some of this too, because I was having this conversation a couple of weeks back with Linda Vodder. She was a guest on our show, and she's just a wonderful gardener and sharing what she does and all of that. But one of the things that we are approaching and we're kind of in the midst of right now is a really kind of chaotic year, especially for those of us living here in the States. And one of the things that we talked about and sort of thing, and it's when I think that how gardening and growing and even kind of the food aspect of certain things of our lives, when it comes to plants and growing, can play an important role in where we are as a wider community of different people with different ideas, different thoughts, different politics.
That's right.
All of this sort of stuff that's coming head to head and clashing in lots of places and lots of other areas. One of the things about my social media that I do, and a lot of people stay away from social media because they don't curate it. And one of the things I do is I curate my social media to make sure that it's only giving me the content that I want, and a lot of it's gardening and growing related and that sort of stuff. But the garden itself, and this is a term that I thought about, and I want to, I'm working on a video and some, maybe even a more of a further discussion on it, is I love the term common ground.
Yeah.
The garden space is a common ground. It's something that no matter what our backgrounds are, no matter what our cultures are, no matter what our thoughts are, opinions, all that sort of stuff, it's a place where, again, it's where the essentials of life
That's right.
are grown, curated, cared for, intended, are right there in the garden space. And so many people, again, too, no matter what the background is, garden and grow and enjoy that sort of thing. So it's a great starting off point for a lot of people. It's a great starting off point to reestablish
Yes.
community, right?
That's
To
right.
utilize this common ground to reestablish community in such a chaotic atmosphere.
That's right.
Any thoughts about that at all?
So for one, thank you for mentioning this. And I don't know if you could physically see me take a sigh, a big, deep sigh, but it was almost like a sigh of relief that there is someone else who has some questions slash concerns slash maybe curiosities about this year in particular here in the United States. We're in
Yeah.
some interesting times,
Yeah.
across the board, politically, economically,
Yeah.
even ecologically. We're
Yeah.
seeing some interesting shifts. But yes, you are right. And as you were talking, one thing that I thought about was what happened during the pandemic and how the gardening community really came through to
Mhm.
kind of fill in this gap in the midst of chaos. We have been kind of, priming ourselves and conditioning ourselves to be mindful, to have a place to go to when the world is on fire, right? Or
Right.
site is on fire. And I found that that is what I mean by being authentic, especially using
Mhm.
that property in whatever it will be to be a safe space. How do we
Yeah.
build safe spaces or this common ground? And I truly believe that the garden, even without us having to be stewards of it, naturally
Mhm.
does that so well, right?
Yeah.
We go into these spaces and immediately you can just, ground yourself.
Mhm.
But I
Yep.
believe that there is an opportunity for us to continue that, to continue to be, I often talk about stewards of community, but the garden tends to serve as a place for us to learn one another, how to be compassionate towards
Yeah.
one another as we're compassionate to these plants.
Yep.
It teaches us, some of the virtues that incidents and events in our society will have us
Mhm.
questioning, right? Do
Yeah.
I need to be patient? Do I need to love this person? Do I need to,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
kind to this person? But
Yeah.
just the being a gardener provides us with this opportunity and it actually encourages us to think a bit bigger than the nonsense that we see. I
Yeah.
often bring in this metaphor. It's kind of like being aware of the fires that's going around, but you're staring at one target ahead of you.
Yeah.
You're aware that there's nonsense happening, but we've got to keep our eyes on the prize. And
Mhm.
that prize to me is humanity. That
Yep.
prize to me is love and kindness and compassion of
Yeah.
of humankind.
Mhm.
That's the only way we're going to get through this. And I've tried to
Yeah.
reconcile this and figure this out in my mind of how are we going to work through this?
Right.
Let's ground together.
Yeah. Ground together, find that common ground, and again, too, it's in a garden space, go find a community garden.
That's right. That's right.
Even if you don't grow there, there's a lot of community gardens have big, long wait lists,
That's
which is
right.
kind of unfortunate. If that's the case, go start another one. But,
That's right.
when it comes down to it, you can check out too. We had a great guest, Lamanda Joy, last
Yes.
year on our show. and she wrote a great book on how to start a community garden. Go find that book, give you some great information too there, and go start one. But that's really, I think, the ultimate point, and when it comes down to it, is that we are all brothers and sisters in humankind when it comes down to it. And no matter what happens, what goes down in any sort of future that we as individuals might perceive, we've still got to be able to find common ground ultimately and live together and move forward with it, with whatever our perceptions are.
Right.
We've still got to find that place. And I think that's an important thing to come back to, or why I think one of the reasons why a garden is such an important space and an important place, because it matters really to all of us,
Yeah.
no matter who we are.
That's right.
Growing food, and food is important to every single individual. So definitely one of those most common things we all share
That's
as
right.
human beings is the need to eat.
Yeah.
And not only that, the need to eat healthy.
That's right.
And to think about our food and where it comes from and how we, and how we're obtaining it and those sort of things. And these are all questions we can come together and start a conversation with.
Absolutely. And I'm going to tell you, the garden has a way of not just producing food, but being kind of this table for eating together and unifying.
Yeah.
Every event that I've been to, there's been some sort of food. And what better place to kind of, figure things out and to communicate, to learn about one another and learn how to collaborate and work together than to a garden and over some really good food.
That's right. That's right. Exactly. So, that's where it gets to, we get all these process, the garden itself, the life, all these aspects of what it gives us. And then it gives us this ultimate harvest,
That's
which
right.
then we get to share with each other, and hopefully, bring together those kind of conversations that allow us to move in that, more positive forward direction that we need to be moving in, as people.
That's
There's nothing wrong with having alternate opinions, different
right.
opinions, and those sort of things. In fact, it's kind of important when it
Yes.
comes to how we move and live together and do things, and those sort of aspects of things. We can get to those conversations by starting,
That's right.
in this space, that we all share.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest, and this is the last thought I'll have regarding this, is, I started this young, my parents, they were very adamant about exposing me to different types of people. And when I say
Yeah.
different types of people with different belief systems, different backgrounds, ages, ethnicities, and being comfortable with being around different people, people that
Yeah.
differ in thoughts, even. And I kind of carry that with me. So I love that my tribe, I've got several tribes. I love that my tribes are comprises of different people, nationalities, belief systems, and I always keep people who differ in ideologies from me because it challenges me. I don't know everything, and quite
Yep.
frankly, Enoch, I don't want to know everything. And if I ever get to that place where I feel that
Yeah.
I know everything, I can expect to leave this earth because I know it all.
Yeah, exactly.
They challenge me to think bigger, to think greater outside of my sphere of knowledge and experiences.
Yeah, I definitely try to be humble with my knowledge and know that it's just, there's so much more to know and learn, and that I'll never get there. And I don't think it's really an aspiration in the long run to know as much about things and to connect as much with things as possible is definitely a goal. But to know it all is, yeah. And again too, that's a great thing about being human in a sense, though, is that we get that opportunity to live a life where we learn and enjoy things and get to be thrilled with discovery and all of that sort of stuff, and I think that's one of the great fascinations and why we all connect so much with gardening like we do, is that it presents so much of that, and in getting that really good connection to nature, the, how life just really, the whole circle of life, from the soil food web to our own, to our own circle of life we live, it's all connected.
Yep.
We're all connected. So it's, these are really important things to remember, especially as we move forward. And really awesome again too to have you on the show with us to be able to talk about all these sort of things and talk about your new space too. I mean, really congratulations to you and your husband on your new property and all of the things that you got moving look forward to. And as you're moving forward with that, all of the best of luck with all of that.
I appreciate that. And again, I'm just so grateful to, be invited back on to talk about concepts, not just in my book, but things that we're living right now.
Mhm.
And, it's really interesting. I'm in this interesting space where we're getting ready to embark on a dream and
Yeah.
something scary, right? It's exciting. It's scary
Mhm.
because there's so many unknowns. But a dream is just the idea of
Yep.
that we've been able to embark upon this is
Yeah.
sitting well within my soul. And I'm excited to share about, once we get over this one hurdle with this ordinance to just unlock our
Yeah.
man, oh man,
Yeah.
just the planning side. But once we get over that, I'm so excited to be able to really talk about, what it means to kind of bring together these concepts of, yes, land development, but also
Mhm.
land stewardship.
Yeah.
How are we understanding the history of the land? Um,
Mhm.
Connecting with my friends who are of indigenous tribes or communities that were
Yeah.
local to the property. Um, Connecting with forestry management, learning so much. And I look forward to, really sharing that journey. That was something that we didn't
Yeah.
have the opportunity to do. So thank
Right.
you so much for, sharing your platform with me
Yeah.
to speak about such a big transition, but also to be able to speak about some of these concepts that are deep and passionate to my heart.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's another thing, like I said, it's really so wonderful about having these sort of conversations is sometimes you just don't know where they're gonna lead sometimes, and then sometimes they lead to these places that really in some way are kind of important to be thinking about and that sort of stuff, it's one of the things I loved about our conversation last time and this time as well too. And I do hope that, I saw, you do have a YouTube channel. Hope maybe you start
Oh,
doing some video again.
yeah,
And really
absolutely.
get us right in there and show us all that stuff, those trees you're planting, tell us the story about all of those sort of things, because I think that sort of adventure that you're on right now, especially even the transition too, as we said, we already had a really great person on there who asked a great question about that earlier. So, those are sort of things I think people would really love to see and really love to know.
Yeah,
And great way for you to share without having to have people come to your property.
right. That's
Yeah,
right.
but I need to make some videos and share all that stuff with everybody else because I think you got a great, wonderful, awesome story to tell and to share with everybody else as well too. And again, one last question I want to do is, because you do want to mention to everybody again, you have this really awesome book. It's called How to Become a Gardener. So I love the title though too, because it's this nice, simple how to become a gardener. Just a simple thing, but there's so much in there that I think is really important for people to read and know and learn about when it comes to this concept of being a gardener in the long run too. So I think you put together a great book.
Thank
Are
you.
there any other plans of any other books? Or, I know this was probably a really great big project for you. It probably drained a lot of energy from you, but
You should have seen me when I was done. I was like, never again. But now I've written a thesis and working on a dissertation. So I'm like, oh, I could
yeah,
write that. I think after I'm done with those, it's really probably going to be around this idea. Maybe, I don't know. I'm really just feeling like there's something there about agriculture,
yeah,
cultures coming together, um,
yeah,
food being in the midst. If someone else gets to it before me, excellent. Share it with me so I can read it. But
That's right.
if I get to that's really what I want to write on next, is really just this beautiful mix of how all of how agriculture, food, and cultures coming together, how they merge.
Yeah.
And that has been the resilience and the sustainability of communities. And so I think that there's a beautiful story there. So many of us have something to bring towards that discussion, and I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if something can be hatched from that. But I definitely plan to chronicle these topics in my YouTube, but also on throughout social media.
Right. Yes. And I do believe, what's your website at again? I know we have a link to it down in the description for everybody.
Just themochagardener.com. That's
That's
it.
right. Nice and simple. Yep.
Simple.
There you go. And that's where you go. You find everything about Ashlie and Ashley's new adventures
Yes.
on all of her gardening and discussions on all of our food and culture and all of that as well too. Just again, wonderful conversation, Ashley. Again, I'm gonna work on something. We're gonna get you back on here for something again to talk some more too, because I just really enjoy this conversation so much.
Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for taking your time to listen.
Awesome. So great to have you. And we'll see you again real soon on the show.
Right.
Thank you, Ashley. All right. Yes, again, too, just so great, so awesome. Like I said, one of the things that's just really special about this show and to be able to do this is to, again, just to be able to meet and connect with people and to have these really awesome conversations. And then again, too, in this case today, is to have someone come back again and have just again another really great conversation about, again, we just love growing and gardening. That's what this show's about, is about connecting this gardening and growing community together, and to be able to talk about, all sorts of aspects of what that means, and what that means to us. When it comes down to it, there are so many things, and I think some of those things that we were touching on there towards the end of our conversation are some really important things for all of us to be thinking about, and things that I will be talking about a bit more as we move forward on this show as well too, because again, like we said, or like I was saying and talking about, is that we've got kind of it's going to be kind of a one of that every 4 years, but this one especially seems to be something that really is kind of bringing some issues, in a sense, we'll just say. And when it comes down to it, I think we all can kind of reconnect with each other through our gardens, through growing, through again, aspects of food and the food system, and how we can connect with each other as a community in order to help each other out in these sort of things, and be able to really reconnect with who we are, what we are as a community. Because when it comes down to it, that's what we have, and that's what when all is said and done, we'll be left with as well, is each other and the community that we share. And so let's let's move forward in a really positive outlook and a positive aspects of what our future is and can be, especially when again, what we love to do here on our channel, here on everybody else that we have on our show, is this shared passion for gardening and growing. And it's just so awesome to be able to share this space with everybody as well too, not just me and our guests, but you here who join with us as well too. I love watching along as we're going through the conversation I'm having here. It's watching the conversation that all of you get to have as well too, in our comments section too, as we're all talking too. So it's an all around community fun thing that we're doing here, and I really appreciate all of you for joining with us here. And definitely, if you haven't already, go down in the description below, check out the link to Ashley's website, themochagardener.com. You'll be able to find links to get to her book, How to Become a Gardener, as well as her blogs and different other social media too, as again, we'll see so much more of what she's got growing on coming up in the future, and hopefully in another episode that we do here, maybe even a Sunday discussion or something. Who knows? We'll talk with her about getting her back on the show again soon. And again, thank you so much, everybody, for all of your conversation as well too. And if you are here with me, definitely be hitting that like button. Sort of like I was talking about at the beginning of the show, one of the best ways you can support us and the show, besides sharing and subscribing and all of those sort of things, which are really important for us to get the word out about what we've got growing on here. But liking the show and getting into the actual comments of this video as it becomes a video after we end the live stream, and leave some comments. So especially those watching the replay, or if you are watching with us live, jump back on, leave a comment, say you were here, let me know a little bit about what you think about the show. If you got any ideas for the show, future guests that we could possibly have that you would like to see on the show, jump in there, leave a comment, even if it's just to say hi, was here, or share with us about something growing on in your garden. But all of those comments really help us out big time. Interactions with our videos and our show are what really drives this show to be seen by more people in the YouTube algorithm. So it's really important for that as well too. So definitely do that. I look forward to seeing all of your comments there, as well as again, like I said, like and subscribe and share with all of your friends too. And let's see here. Oh, one other thing too is definitely come check us out on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, this is a great way to be able to share more of your gardens, pictures, videos, that sort of stuff in our gardening group on the Facebook group, Let's Get Growing. And there's a link for that down in the description below as well too, because I'd love to see what you guys have growing on, and share with me some of those pictures and things that you have growing on in your garden. I'd love to see those. And let's see here real quick. Let's talk about next week's show. Next week we are going to be, oh, that's right. Like, oh, wait a minute. Who's the guest for next week? And actually the guest is just going to be me. We're only going to have just a regular live stream. This was a planned kind of weekend off from just kind of the preparing a show and having a guest and all that sort of stuff. One of the things I found was really kind of fun during our off-season time in the winter was just kind of hanging out with everybody. And so that's what we're going to do this next Saturday and possibly Sunday. Haven't decided quite yet, but it's going to be kind of a weekend off from the show specifically, but I will still be here and we will still kind of have a conversation and everything too. So definitely come and join with us here and join with us in the conversation too. And then also be sure to check out tomorrow's show too as well. We do have Ellen Zakos joining with us on the Sunday edition of our show. She wrote a book called Forage for Wild Foods, How to Forage for Wild Foods, Without Dying, an absolute beginner's guide to identifying 40 edible wild plants. And this is our very first book of our monthly gardening book club that we have here. So definitely come and join with us for this really fun conversation on foraging. Foraging's something that I've dabbled in just a little bit, so I love to be able to ask Ellen some really great questions about some of the things that she has in this book. And as well, we're also going to announce next month's book as well too, so come and join in with the book club tomorrow on our Sunday edition as well. Same time, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And again, that's both Saturday and Sunday for us here on the Let's Get Growing show. And so I really look forward to seeing everybody again on next week's show. And again, really great to have you here today. And we'll see you all next week or tomorrow, Sunday edition.